Welcome back students. This is Sujit sir and today I have come up with one more new chapter in English grammar, which is narration change. Now students, as we all know, narration change is one of the most important chapters in English grammar. Students, let us first understand what we exactly mean by narration change. What exactly happens here? Now students, narration change may be defined as the transformation from direct speech to indirect speech. Sometimes we are also asked to convert sentences from indirect speech to direct speech. So the entire process of transforming sentences from direct speech to indirect speech or from indirect speech to direct speech is what is known as narration change. Now students, we have to keep one more important thing in our mind. What is that? The other name of direct speech is reporting speech. So the one which we call direct speech can also be called reporting speech. And on the other hand, indirect speech may also be called reported speech. Therefore, the other name for indirect speech is reported speech. So students, here what we need to do is to transform sentences from direct speech to indirect speech or vice versa. Let us now understand with the help of an example how the transformation is taking place. Now students, here I have a question for you. I have written a question on the board. Let me read out the question first. He said to me, comma, double inverted comma, I may help you today. So this is the question we have here, or the direct speech. Now before we try to transform this question or transform this direct speech into indirect speech, we should keep a few important things in our mind. What are those things, students? I'm telling you. Well, whenever you get a question, maybe in the examination or in some exercises or elsewhere, the first thing which you should keep in your mind is that we must divide the sentence into some parts. Now this division is very important. This is the correct approach. Whenever you get a question, maybe a difficult one or seems to be a lengthy one, we need not worry. If you go through the correct process, if you have the correct approach, then there is a surety that your answer is going to be correct. Now what kind of division am I talking about, students? I am showing you. Here we have the question. I am dividing the question or the sentence or the direct speech into 4 parts. Now these 4 parts are very important. We all need to divide. Whenever you get a question, we must divide the question or the sentence into 4 parts. This division is very important. Look. Now he, who is he? He is the speaker. Thereafter, this particular part, now I have made a partition, a division. This is the 3rd part and the remaining part of the sentence is the 4th part. Now the question is, in this way we have to make a partition, make a division. We must divide such questions every time into 4 such parts. Now students, you cannot make such partitions drawing lines like this as I have done. That will not be good. You have to divide the sentence in your mind, not in your copy, of course. Now the first part is called the speaker. The first part is called the speaker. A very important part. And this one, the speaker must be speaking to someone. So the person whom he is speaking to will be the listener. So here me is the listener. Now these two parts which I have written as speaker and listener, these two parts are of course important, but not as important as the other two parts which I have not encircled. Well, in case of speaker and listener, let me make it clear. Suppose here I am standing, I am the speaker, and there is somebody standing in front of me whom I am talking to. So whenever I say you, your, you, these kinds of pronouns, whenever I am using, means I am referring to the listener. Listener means the person who is standing in front of me or the person whom I am talking to. It is very easy to understand. Whenever I say you, your, means I am referring to the listener. And so many times I am using me, my, mine, our, us, means I am referring to myself. The speaker is referring to himself. This is very clear. So within the speech, the direct speech or the reporting speech which we have, so as many times as we get pronouns like this, I, my, me, mine, us, means the speaker is referring to himself. And so many times he is using the pronouns like you, your, means referring to the person whom he is talking to. So I hope we have made it clear. Now more important two parts. These two parts we have discussed. We now have two more parts which are more important than these two parts. This is the third part, suppose, or the second part, whatever you say. What is this part? This part is called reporting verb. This part is called reporting verb. This is a very important part. This is a very important part. Why? Let me explain to you. Now, many changes which take place while we transform a sentence from direct to indirect, the several changes which take place, most of the changes depend upon this reporting verb. Why so? Let me tell you. Now we can see it is said to. It is said to. The reporting verb is said to. It means we all know that the reporting verb is given in simple past tense. In simple past tense. So students, we all have to remember from now, if the reporting verb is found to be in simple past tense, as we find here in this particular question, while you are transforming this question, this sentence into indirect speech, all the verbs will be changed. I am telling you once again, if the reporting verb is in past tense, while you are transforming the sentence from direct to indirect, all these verbs will be changed. How many verbs do we have here? One is may, one is help. So there are two verbs here in the reporting speech. So those verbs have to be changed. That we shall see later. But if the reporting verb is not in past tense, rather it is in present tense or in future tense. I mean to say, if the question had not been like this, suppose we have here he said to me. If the question had been something else, what? Like he says to me. He says to me, that means present tense. Or he will say to me, that means future tense. So if we had those verbs in present tense or in future tense, while you are transforming this particular sentence into indirect speech, only the persons will be changed. Only the persons will be changed, and you cannot change the verbs. Repeating once again, if you find the reporting verb to be in present tense or in future tense, while you are transforming the sentence from direct to indirect, you can change the persons only. Persons means the pronouns. We have here two pronouns. One is I, one is you. These pronouns will be changed, but you cannot touch the verbs. Why so, students? Because the reporting verb is in present tense or in future tense. So remember from now, if you find the reporting verb is in present tense or in future tense, you have to change the pronouns only. You can't touch the verb. You have to keep the verbs unaltered. It will be as they are in the question. So here we have said, which is past tense. We all know said means past, simple past tense. If it is in simple past tense, everything will be changed. Means the verbs will be changed and the pronouns will be changed as well. Means everything will be changed. It is a question of changing of verbs and pronouns. If the reporting verb is in past tense, then the pronouns will be changed. Means I and you, as well as the verbs. So both the verbs and the pronouns will be changed. So here we have come to understand one important thing. Whenever you get a question right before you, as I have said to, wherever you have got the question, the first thing is to divide the sentence into 4 parts. So, speaker part, verbal part, listener, and finally the reporting speech or the direct speech which we have here. So it is very important to identify the tense in which the reporting verb is given. Very important thing, because as we have discussed that it will bring about a great difference. It will make your answer incorrect also if you have not noticed, if you have not identified the tense properly. The tense of the reporting verb should be identified, should be noticed in the beginning. So whenever a question is given to you, the first thing which you need to do is to identify the tense in which the reporting verb is given. The reporting verb is given. And the final part, what do we have here? This is the final part. I may help you. Now this is called the direct speech. This is called the direct speech, or you can say reporting speech, which we have discussed earlier. So one which is direct speech can also be said as reporting speech. Both the things are same. Now so when we say, or when we talk about direct speech or reporting speech, students, we have to keep in mind this particular part we are referring to, not the remaining part. Here we have speaker, here we have listener, the reporting verb. But whenever we say reporting speech, direct speech, we exactly mean this particular part which I have encircled. Well, now it is also very important. This is as important as this part. Why so? Now as we all know, there are different kinds of sentences. We have as many as 5 kinds of sentences. Now the sentence which is there, within the inverted commas, within the quoted part, it must be one kind of sentence. We have to identify that kind of sentence as quickly as possible. Many students who are very serious, or those who have practiced narration change many times, or tried to solve many questions in narration change, they know whenever a question is given to them, their eyes fall on 2 things. Their eyes always fall on 2 things, means 2 parts. First, the verb in the reporting verb, the tense in which the reporting verb is given, they all will look at. They will at first see what tense is there in the reporting verb. Very important, because we have come to understand if the reporting verb is in present or in the future tense, there will be changes in pronouns only. Verbs cannot be changed. We have understood. If it is in past tense, which we have here, then everything will be changed. You are going to change the persons and the verbs as well. Therefore, the tense in the reporting verb is very important. So you have to find out the tense in which the reporting verb is given immediately after you get the question. And this one also very important as this one. So the kind of sentence, what kind of sentence has been given to you within the inverted commas. Why so? Because look, I may help you today. This is a declarative sentence. Declarative, you may also call it assertive or a kind of statement. Sentences that begin generally with noun or pronoun, they all are declarative or assertive. Now if it is, now because it is an assertive sentence or a declarative sentence, so while we are transforming this particular sentence into indirect, we have some kinds of rule. Now if it is a question, we shall have different rules. If it is a question, if it is a sentence indicating desires, wishes, orders, advices, so we have different rules for different kinds of sentence. That is why I am stressing upon the fact, whenever you get a question, focus on these two parts, very important parts. You know, the speaker and the listener will not bother you a lot. It's a very simple thing. But always find out the tense in which the reporting verb is given and what kind of sentence has been given within the quoted part, within the inverted commas. If it is declarative, you have to follow certain rules. If it is an interrogative sentence, you have different rules. So that is equally important. So two things are important: the tense in the reporting verb and the kind of sentence given within the inverted commas. What kind of sentence is that? Very important. Now let us try to answer this question. First of all, we have speaker here, he, which we have written down. He will be he. Now said to me, said to me. First of all, find out the kind of sentence given to us in the question. As I have already discussed, I may help you today is absolutely a declarative sentence, no doubt about it. So if it is a declarative sentence or an assertive sentence, students, we have to remember that in every case said to will be replaced with told. Said to will be replaced with told. So therefore, let us write told here. Let us write told here. Now the listener me again has to be taken down. So we have taken down me. It has become, so he said to me has become he told me up to this. He said to me has become he told me up to this. Now we all know we use the preposition to after said, but after told we don't use the preposition to if we have a listener there. We always say he told me, not he told to me. That you have to keep in your mind. Now the question is regarding the removal of the commas. We have here the inverted commas. In every case, these inverted commas are to be removed, are to be omitted. How to remove those commas? Here again we have some particular rules. Once again we have to go back to this sentence. We have to find out what kind of sentence is there given. This is a declarative sentence. So no doubt about it that if it is a declarative sentence in the direct speech, in every case commas are to be removed with the help of that. So let us write that here. In every case, if it is a declarative sentence, we have to remove the commas with the help of that. Now let us see who this I is. The first word is I, the pronoun. As I have said to you earlier, that every time if you find I, we, are, us, these such pronouns, it means they all refer to the speaker. Suppose he is speaking. If he says I, it means he is referring to himself. So this is of course the speaker. Let us find out who the speaker is. He is the speaker. So without hesitation, you can write he. Now we have the verb may. Now we have the verb may. So what should we write? How to replace may with what? Now come to the reporting verb, the tense of the reporting verb, which is past tense. I have told you earlier, if the reporting verb is in past tense, both the pronouns and the verbs will be changed. Rather, the verbs will go to the past tense. So may will become might. May will become might. Let me explain to you once again why has it become might. Because the reporting verb is in past tense. So we have to change the verb, whatever we have there, into past tense. Now when we have changed the modal, the main verb remains unaltered. So help will be help. Help will be help. Now this you, when the speaker is speaking, you, if he says you, definitely he is referring to the person who is standing in front of him, which means the listener. Who is the listener? The listener is me. So let us write me. And the last word which we have here, today. Today becomes that day. I shall provide you with a list of compulsory changes, mandatory changes, which always take place. Like today becomes that day, tomorrow becomes the next day or the following day, yesterday becomes the previous day. So that you have to memorize. Once you go through, it's a matter of going through it once, and I'm sure you will not forget it. So that compulsory change here we have to do in every case. Today becomes that day. So this is how we transform sentences from direct to indirect. Let me tell you once again, even if the question appears very difficult, a long one, don't worry. If your approach is correct, if you know the method, it will not be such difficulty to you. Always remember, whenever you get a question, try to divide the sentence into 4 parts: the speaker part, the verbal part, the listener part, and thereafter the direct speech or the reporting speech. You have to divide the sentence in your mind, not in your copy. So that you have to do. Thereafter, what remains? Find out immediately after dividing the sentence into these 4 parts. The second thing which you need to do is to find out the tense in which the reporting verb is given. Very important, I have discussed with you. And then look at the kind of sentence given within the inverted commas. What kind of sentence is that? Is it declarative? Is it interrogative? Is it exclamatory? Optative means sentences indicating desires, wishes, or imperative like commands, order, advices, etc. That you have to identify. In the next class, I shall discuss with you how to transform all the kinds of sentences. Here I have shown to you how we transform sentences like this. Means where we have declarative sentence. We shall practice a lot. So don't worry. So this we have learned. In the next class I shall try to discuss how interrogative sentences are transformed. If we have interrogative sentence there within the quoted part, how to transform it, what is the rule, we shall discuss all about it. So see you all in the next class. Thank you for being in the class.